Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up-and-coming around the Lego world. I'm your Minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? We have another Lego elimination interview that we're going to get to here with our two buddies, Ethan and Dom, who unfortunately did not make the cut. Did not have a very long time on the show, unfortunately. Would have definitely liked to see what they could do as we get further along. But alas, they're here with us today. I want to preface something really quickly. So there was something kind of odd that has actually never happened before in any of these, in the 3 seasons we've been doing these. There was a question that came near the end of the episode here, and they were asked kind of about what they were doing prior to coming on the show, because everybody else had been on the show. And there was kind of this answer that wasn't 100% appropriate, not in a bad way, just giving details away. And so I did cut that out. It wasn't 100% confirmation that it could or couldn't be in there. I went with safety, being on the safe side of things. So it got cut out. Some of the answer is there. It's going to sound a little funky. You'll probably understand where it's at. But I just want to let you know that's why, if it does sound funky, that's why. Just, standing on the side of caution here. I don't want to be giving any secrets away or anything like that. So just beware. So let's go ahead and kick off into this thing.
It's nice to see you again, but not so soon. I mean, wow. I mean, personally, I was totally shocked. I think some of that was editing, that we totally thought that somebody else was going home. And then at the end. But my first question has to be, what are you going to do with the 90,000 bricks?
Get them. I have some projects that I don't feel like talking about right now because I have big plans with them. But I'm gonna build some stuff with them, and it's gonna be cool.
For me, with the 90K, I really would like to, I guess, refresh my parts that I'm low on, especially like snot bricks and reddish brown parts, because I tend to break a lot of reddish brown parts while I'm building. So I'm definitely gonna kind of restore some of my reddish brown parts, get some snot bricks, and also, just restore my collection. And also, I've been wanting to build a steampunk ship, kind of like inspired from Treasure Planet, maybe. Kind of a steampunk inspired ship that it's been on my mind for a while to do a build kind of with that same theme. But hopefully it will, we'll get the parts and it will inspire a lot of ideas. Because a lot of times I don't really have an idea, just I dig through parts and I find one particular part, and that's fine, that one piece can be the inspiration to a whole model, which is really cool.
Awesome. And I'm sure we'll see those on TikTok. So
yes,
we'll definitely check those out. My next question is, you were at least 7 teams on the show, and obviously more than that. And there's so many terrific builds, and we see each build for about 5 seconds at the summary at the end of the episode. What are some details from some of your builds that might not have been seen on the show that you're particularly proud of?
First one that comes to mind is in Monster Camp towards the porta potties. One of the doors had monster toes creeping out, which I thought was pretty funny, and I was hoping they would make it in. Another one was I wish we got to see more of the monkey stories on Monkey Mutiny, because there was a lot of just funny monkeys doing funny things. I really posed the ever-living crap out of those things to really convey that there was a lot of chaos going on. Trying to think what else. It's a great question. There's also, I managed to sneak a monkey into our last build, which I don't think we got to see the monkey, but Ethan, do you think of anything that got
for me? It was definitely Monster Camp. I love that build. It was debatable of what is the top 2, because the doctors had an amazing build, but I do wish we got a closer look at the haunted house that was in the back. That was something that I was really proud of. I really like the little monster doors, and also there's a full-on interior.
There was a full
as well, which it just totally. And also, with like overall like the image of the camp, the images that we got, they were very like the pictures were very
They're
low,
pretty low.
and if like
We need
raise the
them higher.
camera a foot or two
And we
would
would've
where you
seen
can see
so
the
much
inside, it would have been really nice. But overall, I mean, I was really happy with our builds, and it showed a lot, honestly, with Monster Camp. And like Dom said, with the monkeys was kind of a theme with us after
Yeah.
the pirate ship episode,
We
which
like
was
our
really cool.
monkeys.
And also, Dom, I remember Dom found a 1999 Luke Skywalker head in the bin of the heads, and he placed a yellow Luke Skywalker in Monster
Luke
Camp. Which was
Skywalker
really...
look-alike Monster Hunter. That was not Luke Skywalker, just so happened to kind of look like him.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lightsaber at all. It was a space dagger. But yeah, there's a lot that was in Monster Camp that we didn't get to see. I even managed to sneak one of the training dummies for the target practice was also built in the style of the monkey, which we did get to see. I think the animation really helped. Like thanks to that animation, we got to see a lot more in Monster Camp. But I think that's it.
I believe that was one of the first times it was a nighttime animation, which was really cool.
Too, which is really cool.
Awesome. And my last question for you is, are there any particular memories, either with Amy and Jamie, Will, or your castmates that perhaps didn't make it on camera that you'll just always remember?
Ooh.
With us, everything that made us likable, especially in the first couple of episodes, was just cut.
Yeah, for the most part.
Especially Brennan and Greg, we were really close with them. I mean, they were like I know we said it in there, but
bros.
they're like our older brothers. I mean, we spent a lot of time with everyone, and they call it a Lego Masters family for a reason. We were very close, and to this day we are still friends, and hopefully it's friends for life, which is really cool. But it's so cool how all the teams are are unique and different, but they are amazing people, which is really cool. I'm proud to call them my friends, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments is just Jamie and Amy really they're very proud of our Monster Camp build. That they said a lot more that got cut, but just hearing that come from them was really cool. And then just some of the goofing off that we had with like the Stevens and the Dots and Nick and Stacy and just everyone. I wish a little bit more of that got shown, because it is a fun crowd.
One moment that was pretty funny that they didn't show was when we got eliminated. Jamie, went in for a handshake, and I just hugged him.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic, and I am looking forward to seeing more of your work on TikTok, and hopefully I'll run into you at a convention sometime. I'll turn it over to the next person. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Ethan and Dom, I'm gutted to be talking to you this early, but it's always a pleasure to get to sit down. My first question was, we heard like a funny throwaway line from you, Dom, in the episode where you said, "I wish we had pivoted." And I wanted to get some thoughts from you. I want to get some thoughts from you about like how you approached the challenge this time around and divided the work, and sort of what you might have done differently if you had that chance to pivot.
We definitely had a good couple ideas, but we landed on the jungle temple because we definitely wanted our build to stand out, and that I think it really did with the height. But I feel like we focused a little too much time on the temple aspect than the second build. I wish I prioritized that second build a bit more for obvious reasons, of course. But in terms of like the process, I focused on the mechanisms and the story aspect, and essentially I was like, Ethan, build me a temple. Here's how we're gonna do it. Rinse and repeat. Yeah, like about yay big. Yeah. And I first built the conveyor belt structure, and that's like our basically get up to that height of where it cuts off, and then decorate it with a bunch of leaves to make it look like it was overgrown and stuff. And then once the mechanisms were done, we just started building stuff like animals and flowers and back and forth.
Add
Built
some
a few
color.
monkeys, add some color in there. So,
one thing that I do wish we would have done with that build was add a river, because honestly, I wish I would have looked around at the room, looking at a lot of people built, like the whole green, I guess, the whole putt-putt ring. We focused on height. when everyone else focused kind of spreading things out.
Spreading out. which was,
And if we were
good
able to add a
oversight. Oh, well.
river or some sort of rocky path where they couldn't just hit it around, that would have been super cool. But honestly, I'm super happy with how our build turned out. I mean, we had 9 hours. I mean, we built a huge temple in 9 hours.
In 9 hours.
It's
And
crazy.
with both of us having very little experience with Power Up, what we built, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty happy with that run.
Well, you definitely should be proud. You have so much to be proud of. One thing I wanted to ask you about was, you both were the young rookies coming in, and there's a lot of talk about your age. And, you mentioned on the show just like that your goal was really to set out and represent for the younger audience. And I'm just curious to get your thoughts now, having watched some of the episodes back or gotten some feedback, just if you've gotten any takeaways from sort of being the youngest in the competition and trying to represent the way you wanted to.
So for me, my goal with my content is to be a light. I want to be positive. I want to basically, if you watch my videos, I want people to forget about whatever's going on and embrace positivity. Now with the show, we're edited in a very villainous way, which I wish it would have gone in a different direction with the editing, but I totally understand why it happened. It's, with, reality TV, it's totally understandable. But with my content that I post, my goal is to be a light and be, a positive light. And with a show, it has that negativity when you watch us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely different. That's what I will say.
I'd say I think we definitely had I also agree with Ethan, but I think we managed to still have lighthearted and that funny entertainment aspect to us. My goal with making content is just be entertaining and try to goof off while doing Lego stuff. And I think we did that fairly well, especially with the whole Bricks Before Chicks. I'm so happy that made that in. But no, yeah, I think we represented the younger generation. I know we definitely don't take ourselves too seriously, because at the end of the day, it is a children's building toy and it's meant to be played with and have fun. So yeah, I think that's that for that.
Yeah, well, you definitely brought the fun every week. And then the last thing, Ethan, on the show, in your parting words, you said, the best part about the whole experience is the community and the Lego Masters family that we made. And Dom, you went on to say, I'm going to miss these people. And you got very emotional. And so I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious if you can just expand a little bit. I'm just curious if you could expand a little bit on just like what that has all meant to you and, kind of let us in a little bit more at home for what that's really like.
Everyone accepted us with big open arms immediately when we came back, which was really, really nice. I wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. I was expecting a lot of more animosity, but no, everyone was super nice to us, and we definitely gained some really cool mentors and learned some very life lessons from these people, and they took us under their wings, and it is very much so. It is a family. Like if I need something, I can just call up any of these people.
Mm-hmm.
They got me. They're really cool.
I mean, honestly, exactly what Dom said. I mean, it's a Lego Masters family, which is it's amazing. It's the best part about the entire experience were the relationships that I made, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And honestly, with me and Dom, it made our relationship stronger, and we got to meet so many amazing people along the way as well. All the teams, they're again so different, but so interesting. It was so awesome to find out all about each team, what they do, and same vice versa with me telling my story as well, which is really cool.
Well, I can only imagine what it's like to have a family like that. But thank you both so much for the time, and just congrats on everything you're able to do on the show. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great to see you guys again. I guess my first question, you mentioned how maybe the editing showed you not quite in the light you wanted to be seen in. So what kind of a fan response has that led to, and how have you been dealing with that?
Oh, people on Reddit hate our guts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But none of this hate and backlash and negativity that we do not deserve at all, in my opinion, affects our actual social medias. I haven't seen negative stuff on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, which are the only social media places that matter to me. But my friend just texted me something about Reddit. I want to read this.
It's bad.
That's not the kind of comment I was expecting. Anywho, I'm sorry.
You have
But,
to look at it through a lens.
You have to
of,
look at it. I
you
mean,
know, yeah.
Ethan and I are used to it because we already make content. So we've dealt with haters before. I've received threats. It's nothing. It's water under the bridge. It doesn't really affect me. Our moms, on the other hand, they did not take it lightly. So you can probably like find our moms commenting and arguing people in comments of Facebook posts. So that's hilarious. But yeah, it definitely wasn't like what we wanted to be depicted as, but it's a show. It is what it is.
It teaches you as a person to only like focus on yourself and not really, I mean, stick with what you do and what you believe in, and don't worry about what other people think about you. And it really teaches you that, which is, I guess that is a positive aspect with that. But it hasn't, I mean, it's affected a little bit through the comments, but usually the negative comments are people not even following me. So
yeah, it's just like random strangers in someone's basement. Like, who cares?
Okay, so last time we chatted, we talked a little bit about some of the challenges you guys faced coming in the third episode. And you mentioned things like, other teams maybe had a little bit more practice with the challenges. They were more familiar with the brick pit. You guys missed Chris Pratt. So if you look back on it now that we've seen a little bit more, what was the most challenging aspect of being on Lego Masters for you?
Putting up with Will Arnett's shit. No, I'm kidding. No, in all honesty, I think we love Will. He was hilarious. The biggest, I think, it was just time management, and just I think that's something we definitely missed out on the 3 first challenges. And in all honesty, I'll say it, I mean, having that week of not doing challenges, I would give up instantly to go back to episode 1 and get into the competition right away. That wasn't an option for us, unfortunately. But it definitely, in my opinion, I definitely feel like we would have done better had we had those first 3 challenges to like learn off of and get that experience.
I agree with that. That imagination is kind of a mixture of your last, previous weeks and kind of using everything that I've seen. And we were kind of inside of a hotel room, and it doesn't leave much room for imagination and your mental state. But it is what it is. We used our place, and I believe me and Dom used the best of the situation that we were placed in.
Yeah.
But when our first challenge, we felt behind really the whole time with not knowing the brick pit. I remember we just felt behind the whole time. When
3 episodes back, kind of behind.
Yeah, that was, I mean, not like much. We just felt 3 episodes behind.
Yeah.
But I think those challenges would have helped. And I believe, it's definitely the one that's like, I believe the first 2 would have been fine. The bull one would have been, I'm from Texas. So I was like, it would have been awesome to have a bull riding challenge and say, yeah. But that one would have been fun as well. And seeing that one would have been so cool. I did build, from the first episode of the show, I built a spaceship that was basically, if I did that challenge, I feel like me and Dom would have done a camera spaceship, and you can grab it right here. That's where it would have attached to the ship, which I was really happy with how I feel like we would have gone that content route. But I mean, overall, I think we did the best in our situation.
Nice. So my last question is one that I like to ask all of the teams, and that's what is your advice to people who are just getting into the Lego hobby or coming back to the Lego hobby?
For financial reasons, don't. No, but no, I say start small and work your way up. It can be very overbearing with all these huge mocks and creations. If you're getting into mock building, just start small. Start with just a couple of bricks. My biggest advice is like just take a creator 3-in-1 set, build 3 models, and then try to create a completely new model out of that set just using those parts. That's something I did a few times while like prepping for Lego Masters. Is I'd get a creator 3-in-1 set, build 3 models, take them all apart, and then try to build something completely new just using those pieces. And and also make sure you have a space for your Lego building and Lego collection, because it takes up quite a bit.
So for me, if you have a passion, and if you have if you work hard and you have a passion, you can accomplish a lot. Like whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's Lego building. And that is like, if you have a passion and you work hard, you can accomplish a lot with that. And that's really my advice. It's short and simple. Just work hard and have a passion for it. And, look at what other people build, take their what works with them, kind of take their style and kind of bring it and twist it to be your own, find your own style, look at other builds through social media, and find what you want, and work hard for it.
Nice. Well, thank you very much. We'll just finish off by saying that I remember in one of the early episodes, you guys mentioned that you wanted to prove that you wanted to be there, that you deserved to be there. And I think you did. I really liked your builds, and I particularly liked your last one with the temple. I thought that was amazing. So congratulations, and thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so
much. Thank you, Joy. Gentlemen, Ethan, you and I know each other quite well. When I saw you pop up on Lego Masters, I was like, what is this blasphemy? Ethan and I are both from Texas, and I had an opportunity to interview him and Colleen at the end of September. Anyway, Ethan and Dom, you guys only had a few weeks on the show. You made a mark. You hit the highs, you hit the lows, obviously. But over that time, that short time span, who would you say was, the editing showed you guys, kind of like, eyeing up other teams, Nick and Stacy and such. Who do you think was your biggest rival in the short time that you guys were there trying to catch up?
It was definitely Nick and Stacy. I mean, I
Nick
feel like,
Stacey,
they copied our idea with the monkey belt. They copied our idea with the conveyor belt. It's just,
history repeats itself. I mean, they're also influencers, and you can call them that, but
we also thought like Brendan and Greg, but I believe they weren't really rival. They were just awesome.
They were just awesome.
Above us.
They were just, yeah.
But with Nick and Stacy, there was definitely that. I don't want to say beef, because we were really close with both Nick and Stacy.
We were really close with them.
But it was a fun rivalry. That's what I would say.
It was a fun rivalry.
Yeah, it definitely showed in the editing of the show. It was I was hoping to see more, like, some fisticuffs going on, throwing bricks at each other.
I was. There's a few moments I got cut where I was like ready to throw hands. It was rough.
All right. Next question I've got for you guys. Again, you were on there a short time. Aside from, maybe even this last build challenge, is there one of the builds you're like, you know what, we didn't win it? Obviously you did, where you didn't get the golden brick, unfortunately. But is there one of your builds you're like, you know what, if we had an hour or two or a few extra or something different that you could add something more to it that could have elevated you, what would it have been and what challenge?
For me, that pirate ship, if we had an extra 2 hours, I would have loved that, because we focused so hard on the previous challenge was a dog challenge. We struggled with the stability. So with that ship, we were like, we got to make it strong. We're not building in reddish brown. So I was really happy with the actual boat. But then I look around, I was like, everyone has all these big sails, and I was like, oh, we should have done sails.
We should have done bigger sails.
Yeah. So,
but at the same, one of our concerns is like, if we build them too big, they might like block the story elements, or it might fall apart. And then we saw some of the other teams like, oh, they're taking off their sails and then putting them back on. Why didn't we think of that? Womp womp. Oh well.
Very, very good. The pirate ship was awesome. Obviously, there's some rivalry there, that was going on, but. The monkeys, your journey to Lego Masters was very unorthodox, something we had never seen before. What was that feeling like to just be thrust into this giant competition? You guys are the newbies. You came in, you guys made a statement kind of straight out of the gate. What was the feeling behind that when you first arrived?
Oh boy.
One word. Boy. We were overwhelmed. I remember the first 15 minutes of that challenge. I was so tense that I was like, it felt like I had just ran a marathon, because we did 9 days of nothing. And then I was sprinting, and I was like, I should have done some stretches before.
Yeah. After that first challenge, our legs were so sore because we didn't stretch. We didn't prepare. We should have practiced on a treadmill, but my goodness, that it's a full contact sport.
This is more than a Lego building challenge. This is, you have to get, you work out. This was like, we should have had 9 months of just working out,
Very nice. Well, I appreciate you guys taking your time out of your evening. Ethan, I'll see you again at some point in Texas, obviously, but wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And thanks again, guys.
Thank you so much.
So
You
much.
too.
Hello, Ethan and Dom again.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing
I'm
good.
great.
sad to see this part of the interview process, but we've gotten to know you pretty well. And first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for representing the TikTok community. And I do think even despite the editing, you both have really gone through this with grace and a very positive attitude. So kudos to you for that. So I'm curious about the Dachshund episode, because there was that scene where everybody was running for the leashes and Crash toppled over. That's right.
Crash.
Toppled over that, but that was strategic for him. Now, in the melee, did you already pre-decide you wanted the Dachshund, or was it you were scrambling and you just said, I don't want the big bulldog, we just get something smaller? What was your strategy with regard to that particular episode?
So my goal was to be the first one there. And our original thought was, do I get the corgi? That's what we were originally going to grab, the corgi, but Nick really wanted it. It's a big part of his community, and was like, okay, that is totally understandable. I would.
We don't want to make
if it was vice versa, I would want the same thing. So I was like, you know what's something that I'd want, and then I went, like, me and Dom talked about the Dachshund because I grew up with Dachshunds, and I was like, you know what, this would be really fun. So I was like, I think it was a pink color. I forget what color, but I'm pretty sure it was a pink color. And I just bolted. Like I played baseball for like 10 years, over 10 years. So I'm used to sprinting. I was the fastest on my team. And I just bolted and I got the color and I was like, ah! And then Steven, I just
right behind him.
I was like, oh yeah, and then boom, I kind of do a little spin and just like, whoa, what just happened?
Okay, so you got it before he hit the table. Okay, that's great. And Dom, you have any follow-up with that with regard to the Dachshund specifically?
Not really. I'm just glad Ethan's okay.
Frail little boy, he could have break like a twig.
Yeah.
Well, you did a great job on the Dachshund, and sorry about how the outcome came out on that, but you still have to.
We survived.
You survived.
I made it funny.
You got the pink collar.
So it's like everything that went wrong, like the legs, the neck, and I gave him some back wheels just for fun.
And we're going to do a tag team interview, so Remy will be asking the next question.
Yeah, great to see you guys again. Also, I just now realized that that's a neck brace on that dog build. So Jeff's kiss. That's amazing.
It's just so funny. He didn't tell me about that. So I'm scrolling on my phone. I see that video. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ethan had that kind of humor in him. It's pretty funny.
Very silly. But yeah, so what was the switching gears for just, what was the process like after you left the show and got home? What was it like building again with your own Lego and collection? Like, how long did that take? And did you all encounter any difficulties there?
I gave myself a break. I told myself I wasn't going to build for a week, which I ended up breaking after 5 days because I was like so wired in my brain to build, because when you have that, you're building like every day, day by day. So it's like, it's ingrained, like it felt wrong not building, but my hands definitely needed a break. So that was nice. But not having the brick pit and not having access to that was definitely a big shock at first. But it also, for me at least, forced me to like build things in other ways. So I try to like build out of my comfort zone. It also definitely makes me want to sort my Lego even more down to the bin, because it's so convenient. It was just so great. It was so convenient. But yeah, it took me a little bit to get back into my building groove. But at the same time, I was itching to build for a few days because it felt so normal. It was already geared in my head. But yeah, it was weird. It was weird at first, but yeah, I got the hang of it. I got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
mock building and competition building are two totally different things. Like they're very different. Competition, like with Lego Masters, it's building with a partner. It's building with really an infinite amount of brick, but of a certain kind. So it's and then with mock building at my house, I know where everything is. I know what parts I like. I love inverted tires and rubber bands, and that isn't really available. That's just what I'm used to at home. So there's definitely that. But when I got home, I remember I felt like there was a lot to prove. So I went straight in with building and TikTok account, because we went a month without making TikTok videos. So I went straight into that as like I have to get my community back up and running, because I didn't really post much for the last month, which was really cool. But it definitely I picked right back up, if not probably stronger than before. So that's really cool.
Okay, well, that's awesome. And thanks, and we'll look forward to seeing what you're going to do with those 90K bricks, Dom. And now
I'm not telling.
you don't have to tell. I just thought I'd bring it up again, and maybe you would do it accidentally, but no, that's fine.
No,
all right. You sure?
It's something.
A 90,000 piece monkey. Exactly like
yes, it's a giant monkey. That's my secret. Well, there it is.
Awesome. But yeah, we'll look forward to that, whatever it is, and I'll throw back to Naomi now.
Thank you, Remy. I think the first thing they're going to be doing is sorting those 90,000 bricks. I'm curious. We had a chance to talk to the grandpappies, and they talked about the top 3 things to consider if you want to be successful on Lego Masters. So what would your top 3 things be?
Practice your butt off as much as possible, as much as you can. That's one thing going into the competition. I wish I did a lot more. Like I was still practicing every day, but I wish I practiced like 2 times the amount. But more preparation and definitely building stuff outside of your comfort zone. I know in that week of isolation that we had some bricks, and we definitely challenged ourselves with some gearing stuff, and we didn't have too much, so we just stick to like the basic bricks. But we definitely built as much as possible during that week, and just also getting your storytelling down and timing yourself. If you can train for Lego Masters, if you're taking it seriously, I recommend training as much as possible, and like throw yourself some curveballs, time yourself while building, strategize, time management, work on storytelling and creativity. Yeah, definitely that stuff.
For me is like, I would say the most important part is create a bond with your partner. That's like, you're working with a team. That is very important. Create a strong bond with your partner. Know your partner's weakness, strengths, and work with that. You're a team. You're both very different. So find both of your strengths and work together for that. And I get, like Dom said, really practice and also work with time management and I guess strength and story. Story is very important. I mean, that's one of the first things that you do with a challenge is come up with a story. With me and Dom, we both was really that first couple of minutes was we would write down 3 ideas, and after a couple minutes, then show our ideas and kind of come to a middle ground
back and
with
forth,
them. Which I think that worked great in our favors, especially with the treehouse episode. I remember that. And lastly, I mean, just know your strengths and weaknesses and work around it. So
make sure your dog doesn't fall apart.
Yeah. It's very difficult to, I guess, like to just, I don't know. It's difficult, but you can work around it, work hard, and get plenty of sleep, focus on hydration as well. This is more than a Lego competition, y'all.
It's more about building. It's about building for hours and hours on end. So you can practice just doing that.
Right.
Also multitasking. And if plan A doesn't work, know what you're going to do for plan B. If plan B doesn't work, come make plan C. It's like I said with building a sphere. If you can like build, there's 20 different ways to build a sphere. Know all the techniques just in case the brick pit doesn't have plan A. You can do plan B or C. You kind of adjust.
Adapt.
That's awesome. And if you want me to, I can tell you what the 3 things the grandpappy said just real quickly. They were, Make sure they're large builds because you're building for television. Color, make sure there's lots of color, especially because Amy is one of the judges, and story. So you did confirm the story part too. But once again, it's just been a delight talking with both of you. And thank you again for sharing your lives with us. And we know you have great plans for the future, and we're looking forward to seeing your journey.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was awesome getting to know you too.
Well, hi guys. It's great to be speaking to you both again. It's obviously unfortunate under these circumstances, but all the same, it's always fun to have an opportunity to talk with the contestants of Lego Masters. So I guess my first question would be just something that I've just I was thinking about, like when it came to, when you were introduced in episode 3, and the way that the episode ends off, and everyone. You have this impression that like it's this big shock, like no one knew. I'm kind of guessing that like it wasn't exactly like that. Like you actually had some time to kind of like get to know everybody before that. So is there like, can you tell me a little bit about like the what that kind of behind the scenes kind of process was like? Kind of what was going on, sort of before that, I guess.
So before we had this thing called boot camp. One thing I will say is I wish we got to know the teams that left before us. I wish we would have got to know them better, because I feel like me and Dom really like us and Drew really
we clicked with Drew pretty well. We were really hoping that we had because Drew was 18, I was 19, Ethan was 18, and Liam was also 18. So we had like this group of boys, but the boys. We had big hopes with the boys of Lego Masters and the shenanigans we'd get into, but sadly it didn't happen.
So I guess my next question would be, I guess because as well as that, there's, I think it has been said before as well, just like there's a lot of like the kind of process of things that you'd learn from like the first couple of challenges that you didn't get a chance to do, and obviously that kind of does push you back a little bit in terms of like having to get used to the time frame, all that kind of thing as well. One of the things I find really interesting is that not only is there like making impressive builds, but you're also having to put into account the sort of making something that thematically kind of fits with the challenge, and also all these other elements, sometimes like adding motors and all that kind of stuff. What is that like, having to balance all of that?
It definitely feels like a juggling act, because you have to like manage this, manage that. It's like a grocery list of things you have to do. You got to have color. You have to make sure your build is impressive, that stands out. Story, structure. If there's motors involved, you got to do that. Which I always prioritize anything with motors, because how finicky they can be. Something I always prioritize. With every challenge that involved motors, I always took that head on first, just to get that done and out of the way, and then focus on the things surrounding it, because with motors, typically it's a criteria that has to work, and if that doesn't work, you're screwed. So that's something I've really prioritized. And then I think that's about it. Ethan, what do you have to say to that?
With the challenges, there are, I guess, 3 main criteria that I guess isn't really said, but it's what I believe the judging is based off of, and that's story, the wow factor, and the techniques that you use. If you're able to use all 3 of those, that is you're going to do well in the you're going to do well with the challenge. And any mistake that you do, the goal is to make the least amount of mistakes. And it's like Dom said, it's a juggling game. You have to sometimes, when you have 8-9 hours with a build, you can only focus on 2, or it's sometimes coming up with all 3 isn't the best thing. Or do you focus on the story and kind of focus on the story more than the techniques? And you have to kind of balance of, if you're only able to pick 2, what are the 2 that you're going to focus more on, and are you able to, I guess, save yourself by having focusing on 1 or a balance? And that is definitely it's tricky to come up with something like that, but that's the main 3 things with an average competition challenge.
And one thing I'd like to add on to that is like having a teammate that can hold their weight is very important. A big fear of mine is that I wouldn't be able to keep up with Ethan, and he'd carry me through the competition. Where I think I did a okay job at
you did
my
really
weight.
you did really good. You did
Thank you. I try. But no, it's really important to have a good teammate and make sure they know what they're doing. And like we said earlier, make sure you both know your strengths and weaknesses, bounce off of those strengths and weaknesses, and communication is also very important.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of sort of I guess you were saying then sort of the juggling sort of aspect of that I find interesting. I guess I didn't really sort of go that way, but the idea of having these sort of three elements and really only being able to focus on two, it's kind of like that kind of like triangular sort of system thing, they talk about, where it's like you can't have all three kind of thing.
What's nice is that you can juggle back and forth with your teammate, which is always nice. That's something
absolutely
add and throw out there.
So I guess another question I'd have is there a particular moment that kind of within the series that really kind of stood out as like your favorite moment?
My favorite moment kind of got cut, but I remember when picking Brennan and Greg as the other box. I remember I believe Amy says, "So why do you pick Brennan and Greg?" And I literally just say, because they bought us sushi.
There was more to that, of course, but that was just kind of like, yeah, they were really nice to us and they did buy us sushi, but really it was my strategy that kind of backfired, but not really. They did. It was nice. They were great guys. We love Brendan and Greg.
Think of anything else. I remember our fist bump that we did when we with
we had this whole handshake and everything that we did after every challenge. You kind of see it when we put our pirate when we put in Monster Camp, you can kind of see us do it off to the side.
And also this was another fun challenge thing that I remember that I was like, please make it in the show, and it did. I remember with Monster Camp, before we even grabbed a brick, I look at Dom after our idea, and I look at him and say, let's win this thing.
Let's win this thing. And we did. I love it so much.
I was like, I hope there's a camera on me.
There's always cameras on us. But I think for me, my favorite moment is when we won that challenge, because that was like, I mean, we spent an hour and 15 just thinking of that idea, and eventually it just clicked and it worked out so well in our favor. My God, I'm so happy with that build. And when we won, it was like the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my entire life. Honestly, it was so cool.
One thing, we had it so planned. We had it everything. We drew a square. We had everything planned before we even grabbed a brick.
We mapped it out.
We
did little pictures. It was all. We even wrote down what the color of what the buildings were gonna be, and we focused on color. It was just Monster Camp. Good times.
One thing that was interesting about that build was I don't know if I could say that, but I remember you had to come up with the name for your model before that 3 hours. It was that evening. We had 3 hours of build time, and you had to come up with a name of your model before the end of the day, before the next day.
And we just came up with it's a Monster Camp. Let's just call it Monster Camp.
I gotta say, actually, because I absolutely loved that. That's definitely a highlight for me. I think the series. That point where you go Monster Camp, and that like sort of
Monster Camp.
Monster Camp.
That was so good.
You can actually see the light bulb go off in my head. It's incredible. I love it so much. And,
I like it, Dom. I don't care. We need to do something.
We need to do something. No, but that challenge is, I think, the highlight of my Lego Masters experience is building it and winning it. And as you can see, I was very enthusiastic. I was like, let's go. It was awesome. It was great.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a really fun build, and also, you can. I mean, I know it's been said a million times at this point, but yeah, you did get to get a lot of Lego out of that as well, which is pretty.
Oh yeah,
cool.
I had a whole Oprah moment. I was throwing bricks. I was like, you get some bricks. You get some bricks. It was great.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, thank you so much, guys. It's been really great. Course. I really look forward to seeing what you come up with next, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
if any
Thanks
of
so
y'all
much.
are at conventions, I would love to meet with all of you guys.
Absolutely,
so-
likewise.
Well, that will wrap up this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was really fun talking with Ethan and Dom. Everybody is fun to talk to. It's just a little bit different, especially because I've gotten to know Ethan ahead of time and actually, get an opportunity to talk in depth with him, knowing that I had brought up to him about him being on Lego Masters in the future, potentially. Man, it's just, I can only imagine what I cannot remember specifically, but that question pops up and I don't know if it was like deer in the headlights, but he's a true professional. So I'm sure it was just fine. But again, I can't quite remember. So there are 2 Lego Masters episodes coming up here in the next few days. One of which is the day before Thanksgiving here in the United States, and then one is on the day of Thanksgiving. So those shows are going to be coming. They're going to be a little probably later than usual, just due to the sheer fact that there's a lot to unpack and then get recorded and stuff. So just bear with me on that. We've got some other things coming as well. But until we meet again, I'm your Minifigure host, Matt. Let's belt on it.